Biosecurity. What is biosecurity, and why is it important in the control of HPAI spread? Biosecurity refers to a set of practices and measures designed to protect poultry flocks from the introduction and spread of diseases, such as highly pathogenic avian influenza. It includes a range of preventive measures such as strict hygiene protocols, controlled access to poultry areas, proper waste management, regular disinfection of facilities, and monitoring of flock health. Poultry premises must have appropriate biosecurity measures in place according to product types to obtain movement permits. Moving broiler breeder pullets from a pullet premises to a single-age breeder premises. The risk of moving the pullets from pullet premises to breeder premises is comparatively high compared to other movements in the broiler supply chain. Pre-movement isolation period of 7 days prior to the pullet loadout and active surveillance before and after the placement is essential to prevent the spread of HPAI. The various specific biosecurity measures required for the movement of broiler breeder pullets to breeder premises are: 1. Restriction of risky off-farm activities. Off-farm disposal of mortality, removal of litter, and garbage should be prohibited. Also, avoid visiting other poultry farms and do not allow non-critical visitors. 2. Provision of dedicated footwear and clothing. Wear footwear and clothing dedicated to the line of separation area to minimize the risk of disease transmission. 3. Enhanced biosecurity measures. Showering and changing clean clothes before entering premises. Use of PPE and footwear dedicated to the line of separation reduces the risk of HPAI transmission. Also, the vehicles should be cleaned and disinfected prior to entering the breeder premises. 4. Management of critical operational visits. Critical operational visits such as feed delivery, fuel delivery, repair and replacement of the equipment, vaccinations, etc. on the breeder premises should be carried out with caution and may require permits. 5. Risk mitigation for drivers. Drivers must roll up the windows or use insecticide spray to prevent flies from entering the vehicle and spreading the disease. They must wear boots before exiting the vehicle and the foot pedal, and the interior should be disinfected at every stop. Moving broiler hatching eggs from breeder premises to hatchery. Hatching eggs can be moved only from the breeder premises that has a National Premises Identification Number. The breeder premises must meet the criteria for a monitored premises designation. The various specific biosecurity measures required for the movement of hatching eggs from breeder premises to hatchery are: 1. Use of cleaned and disinfected packaging materials. For eggs, hatching eggs must be stored in new disposable materials or cleaned and disinfected containers during storage and transportation. 2. Cleaning and disinfection. Buggies, racks, or pallets used must be cleaned and disinfected. Buggy wheels, the path to the breeder farm, and the loading dock must be disinfected before egg pickup. 3. Personal hygiene. Farm personnel must wash their hand with detergent and wear clean boots before entering the egg storage room. 4. Holding period. Hatching eggs must be held for 2 days before moving from breeder premises. 5. Disinfection using fumigation. The hatching eggs and egg handling materials should be fumigated or fogged after loading onto the vehicle trailer. 6. Restricted access. Do not allow the entry of non-essential visitors into the hatchery. Farm personnel must not enter the delivery vehicle, and the driver must not enter the egg storage room. 7. Use of personnel protective equipment. The delivery driver must wear PPE at the breeder farm and the hatchery to prevent disease spread. 8. Vehicle cleaning. The exterior of the delivery vehicle must be cleaned and disinfected before entering the hatchery. Moving day-old broiler chicks from hatchery to single-age grow-out farm. In the HPAI control area, day-old broiler chicks can be moved only from the hatcheries with a National Premises Identification Number. Similarly, the hatchery should receive eggs from the breeder flock from the HPAI-free area, or the monitored premises. After the movement from hatcheries, day-old chicks must be placed under quarantine for 21 days in the destination premises. The various specific biosecurity measures required for the movement of day-old broiler chicks from hatcheries to a grow-out premises are: 1. New cardboard packaging. Chicks should be placed in new cardboard or plastic boxes which have been cleaned and disinfected. 2. Dedicated hatchery. Footwear. Personnel must use dedicated hatchery boots, which should be cleaned and disinfected upon entry to minimize disease transmission. 3. Segregation and traffic flow. Setting, hatching, and chick processing operations should be segregated with strict traffic flow to minimize cross-contamination. 4. Restriction on cohabitation. Hatchery employees should not live with others who might have contact with external poultry or avian species. 5. Biosecurity for essential visitors with contact history. All equipment and vehicles associated with critical visits should be cleaned and disinfected before entry to the premises. 6. Restriction of non-essential visitors. Do not allow the entry of non-essential visitors into the hatchery. 7. Waste collection. Waste collectors shouldn't be allowed into the hatchery building, and collection bins should be kept outside the building while securing it from wild birds and animals. 8. Location of the broiler hatchery. A hatchery should be located at least 1 kilometer from the nearest poultry farm and at least 1.5 kilometers from a known infected poultry farm. Moving broiler chickens to slaughter from a grow-out farm. Movement of broilers to slaughterhouse is only allowed from monitored premises with premises identification number. Pre-movement isolation of the broilers should be carried out starting at least 5 days before the scheduled movement date. There are various specific biosecurity requirements during the movement of broilers from a grow-out premises to a processing plant. They are: 1. Containment of mortality. Dead birds must be disposed on site to prevent access by scavengers, which increases the risk of spread of HPAI. 2. Management of litter. The poultry litter, too, should not be moved off-site to prevent the spread of the disease. 3. Management of garbage. Similarly, the garbage, too, should not be disposed off-site. 4. Restriction of non-critical visitors. Non-critical visitors should be restricted from entering the broiler premises. 5. Equipment and vehicle biosecurity. All the equipment and vehicles should be cleaned and disinfected before entering the premises. 6. Feed delivery. Biosecurity. For the delivery of broiler feeds, a dedicated feed truck should be used to minimize potential exposure to the birds. 7. Personal protective measures. Personnel interacting with the poultry should adhere to strict hygiene requirements and must wear personal protective gear. 8. Prohibit visiting other farms. Workers and other employees should be prohibited from visiting other poultry farms.